good.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Beaumont City Council. Today is Tuesday, January 25th, and given our invocation today will be Pastor M. with Beaumont Seventh-day Adventist Church. Everyone, please silence your phone. If you choose to, please stand for the prayer and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. You may come forward.
Father in heaven, we just want to thank you for life today. We also thank you for the grace and the mercy that we experience each and every single day. Father, as we also experience this grace and this mercy, help us also to be gracious and merciful. And Father, I want to pray for Mayor Bouton and the rest of the City Council as the burden of leadership has been placed upon their shoulders. And as it's often quite heavy, we ask that you will grant them strength. We ask that you will grant them courage. We ask that you will grant them wisdom and that you will grant them a discerning heart. Father, we ask that you will bless them and their respective families, that they may be healthy and that they may prosper. But Father, we also pray for this city, that each of us will be able to love one another, that we will be a blessing to each other, and that we will be kind to each other, Lord. Father, we pray that this city will continue to be blessed, that it will grow, and not just in number, but in spirit and in every way, Lord. I pray that your hand of blessing may be upon the city. We pray these things in the name of Jesus.
Amen. Thank you. Please join us for our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Mouton.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Samuel.
Present.
Councilmember Durio.
Here.
Councilmember Getz.
Present.
Councilmember Turner.
Here.
Councilmember Felshaw.
Present.
And Councilmember Neal.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have no presentations or proclamations today. But now is the time for any citizen who wishes to speak. If you would like to make a public comment, please make sure that you filled out the green slip to the back of the room. Hand it to the clerk at the front of the room. She will call your name when it's time for you to speak and come to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to speak, and at the end of your 3 minutes, the red light will come on when your 3 minutes are up.
I don't have any at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, may I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any discussion? Thank you. Councilmember Turner.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. For item number G, I noticed that we were making a move to take Mr. Albert Eby off of the account and add someone else. Is he currently still with the transit department, and can we get an update on what's going on right there?
Yes, sir. So Mr. Eby is no longer working for First Transit at our location. So he is has been replaced by a new manager. We look forward to introducing her to y'all soon. Her name is Claudia San Miguel, and she's moved here from Laredo, Texas.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Getz. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had your hand up. Okay, is there any other discussion? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion carries. May I have the reading of the first item, please?
Mayor and council, item number 1 is an ordinance entitled an ordinance granting a specific use permit to allow a recreational vehicle park in an LI, light industrial, and GCMD, general commercial, multiple family dwelling district on property located to the north of Chin Lane on the east side of East Tex Freeway in the city of Beaumont, Jefferson County, Texas. Beaumont RV Resort is requesting an extension for the specific use permit that was issued to them in October of 2017. The administration recommends a new deadline of January the 25th, 2023, with the 3 conditions that are listed in your staff report. The administration recommends approval.
You've heard the reading of item number 1. May I have a motion, please?
So move for approval.
Second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? No discussion? All in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No objection? The motion carried. May I have the reading of item number 2, please?
Item number 2 is to consider approving the purchase of a new bus wash system for the Beaumont Municipal Transit System. Westmatic Corporation of Buffalo, New York is the recommended vendor. The total price is $168,779. Funds from the Department of Transportation will fund $135,023. The Municipal Transit Fund will pay $33,756. We recommend approval.
You've heard the reading of item number 2. May I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Durio.
This DOT grant money, is it specifically for use in the transit system?
Are these specific funds? Okay.
Yes, sir. They're 5339 FTA funds, and they are dedicated to our transit system. Yes, sir.
I mean, can it be used, what I'm asking is, I mean, can it be used for salaries and things like that?
So 5339 is typically used for capital improvements. 5307 is an FTA grant that we get for operating. So this is typically dedicated just to capital.
So will we have access to the 5307 grant at this time?
Yes, sir.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay, and have we got any thought into using that to help with the transit situation?
Yes, sir. So we're improving. We're looking at a variety of capital improvement projects. As you're aware, we've ordered 16 new vehicles for the fleet. We're adding a camera system to the Dannenbaum transfer system. We're making some really cosmetic and maintenance upgrades to the existing office, Beaumont Transit office. So we are looking at a variety of capital improvements.
I just want to remind the council that we're not a part of the negotiations for the Transit Union Authority, that our status only allows us to recognize 2 unions, that is police and fire. So any budgeted funds that we do have are available, of course, can be set aside for that, for whatever purpose the contract allots for. However, we are not engaging in any of the contract discussions as it relates to the negotiation with the contract, with the workers.
Councilmember Getz.
Well, did
You're
you have any
finished,
more?
Councilman Durio?
Okay. These capital improvements, the current bus wash system, what inadequacies are there with it?
It is approximately 12 years old. We originally had planned to refurbish it. However, when the contractor came out and looked at it, it was in such a state that they had recommended that it would be cheaper to go ahead and secure a new one than to try to refurbish the old one. And so this would be a completely new system.
Contractors do that a lot, but
And it's in pretty bad shape. It was.
it is in bad shape.
Different contractor too.
Okay. The only reason I ask is because I would imagine that these funds as capital improvements could also be used to install additional shelters throughout the city if we wanted to. And I just wanted to get an idea of if this was something we really needed to replace and could maybe shift it to shelters. But if you're saying that the bus wash that we have now needs to be replaced, I'll take that as it is.
Yes, sir. And the good thing about these funds is we typically get an allotment, an allocation every year, so we would expect to look at additional funding next year.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor of approving item number 2, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carried. May I have the reading of item number 3, please?
Item number 3 is an ordinance of the City Council of Beaumont, Texas, authorizing participation with other Entergy service area cities in matters concerning Entergy Texas Incorporated at the Public Utility Commission of Texas in 2022, authorizing the hiring of lawyers and rate experts, authorizing the city's participation to the full extent permitted by law at the Public Utility Commission of Texas, finding that the meeting complies with the Open Meetings Act and declaring an effective date. And the city attorney, Mrs. Reed, will lead the item.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. As you know, the city regulates energy as it relates to their rates within the city. This ordinance allows us to participate with other cities to compare rates and to negotiate rates with energy. Yes. It's on. Sorry. Is that better? Okay, perfect. You need me to repeat any of that? Great. So this will allow us again to authorize the city council, the city attorney, to hire experts and lawyers to review the rates that are presented by energy for any rate increases, to make sure that we are negotiating the most competitive rates for the citizens.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any other discussion?
Need a motion.
May I have a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilmember Turner.
Out of curiosity, the city of Beaumont, I know we only deal directly with energy. Kind of did a little research with other cities. I know they have other people they can go through as far as energy. I mean, is that a possibility? Is it a reason we deal directly with one independent company? Like, how does it work?
So just a little history. The city actually went to the legislature to petition not to be deregulated. The cities, Houston, Austin, Dallas area, they're all deregulated. They were, if you remember the ice storm, they're all on the ERCOT system. They went down. We did not. Our grid is very well maintained, and I would attribute that to the city being able to, again, negotiate our energy rates for our citizens. To my knowledge, we've never been approached by another energy company because, again, they would have to comply with our regulatory rates.
Councilmember Gibbs.
You know, when you have only one energy company, you only have one energy company.
That's
So
correct.
I have had many constituents remark to me that what used to be Gulf states is certainly no longer the case in terms of customer service now. And the question is often asked, why don't we look to see if we can't get other energy providers in Beaumont? Have we, do we have the ability to reach out and talk to other energy providers and solicit them to make a proposal to the city of Beaumont?
Yes, sir. The reality is that if they came, they would have to come under our authority and regulation. And as you know, most energy companies want to be able to raise their rates or, operate independently. Like I said earlier, the city has worked really hard to maintain regulatory authority and not to be deregulated, to make sure that we're providing at least power to our citizens. I'll remind you again, during the ice storm, those cities didn't have any control over the energy company rolling blackouts or shutdowns. Those are things that we contract in to make sure don't happen in our city.
So anybody we invite to come talk to us has to agree to abide by our rules?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Unless the city wanted to explore deregulation, which I would not advise against.
Any other discussion? All in favor of approving item number 3, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carried. May I have the reading of item number 4, please?
Mayor and Council, item number 4 is to consider authorizing the city manager to execute what is known as an advanced funding agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation. On November the 24th of 2020, The city council authorized the city manager to apply for and enter into an agreement with TxDOT for what is known as the 2020 Highway Safety Improvements Program, Interconnect Signals Project. The agreement provides the general language for any project between the city and TxDOT that involves federal funding. The scope of the work for this agreement is described as interconnecting signals on the following streets: 4th Street, Gladys Avenue, Highland Avenue, and Phelan Boulevard. The engineering estimate for the project is $739,020. The city's match will be $66,520, with federal funds paying $643,500 and the state paying $29,000. And I'd like to thank Bart Barkowiak and his staff for their work securing these grant funds. The administration recommends approval.
You've heard the reading of item number 4. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Duria.
Yeah, could I just get a little further clarification what exactly a advanced funding agreement is?
It's just a contract with TxDOT that spells out how the funds will be administered and for what purpose. It's a standard language contract with TxDOT.
Okay.
Councilmember Turner.
Bart, for clarification to the citizens that's just watching, can you kind of explain how would this be beneficial to the community as far as the traffic flow and things of that magnitude?
This project is going to allow us to interconnect the signals, so there'll be communication between the signals within the project, and adaptive hardware and software will be put in place to allow the lights to change their timing according to the traffic flow through. We did one other project in the past. We implemented adaptive signaling from Hospital Drive to Dallin Road on College. That project improved traffic flow 37% from before to after the implementation. So we certainly hope to see improved traffic flow off of this project as well. When we put in for funding, this is actually a multiple year project, so we'll be coming back to you in 2023 and addressing Washington, Lucas, and Calder will be the next 3 streets that were already approved, but in a subsequent year that'll come down. And then we've also, the one project we didn't get was Dallin Road. We have applied again for Dallin Road in hopes that we can get that corridor done as well.
Councilmember Duria.
When they do this work, are they gonna have to tear up the streets, or this stuff that's attached to the lights?
This is solely work within the signal cabinet and on the poles, so it will not tear up the streets.
And you say you applied for to do, what would you say, Dallin?
Dallin, yes.
And they declined it, they denied it?
That was the one part of this project that they turned down.
Any explanation as to why, or how they decide which ones they'll fund?
We don't really have a great explanation for it. Neither did the local district office. We broke the project into 2 segments, thinking maybe it was just a little too large, and so resubmitted it.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor of approving item number 4, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carried. May I have the reading of item number 5, please?
Item number 5 is to consider authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Bird Rides Incorporated to govern the operation of a stand-up electric scooter sharing system within the city. Bird Rides is commonly known as Bird Scooters. They operate in more than 375 cities and are now seeking to operate a scooter sharing system in Beaumont. Bird Scooters would engage with a local firm to act as the local fleet manager. This local manager would operate and maintain the system as well as address any customer inquiries or concerns. We had a discussion item related to this matter within the last month, I believe. There would be no cost to the city for the program. However, we would receive 5 cents for each ride purchased. And I'd like to thank Chris Boone and Sheree Reed for their work. With bird scooters, the administration recommends approval.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of item number 5. May I have a motion, please?
So move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any discussion?
Just one question.
Councilman Duria.
Has a local firm been identified as the local fleet manager yet?
Not to our knowledge, no, sir.
Any other discussion?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. This is for the city attorney. I know that anytime we do anything like this, our exposure on liability is always there to some degree. What is your opinion about our exposure on legalities or liability within the city on this type of a?
So there's nothing that prevents a citizen from suing us in any case, but the identification clause that's in this contract is very well written, so I do say so myself, because I wrote it.
You wrote it.
So it's protected, so any of those claims would just fall back to them, and they have their own legal team that are used to handling it. But our protections are safe under the Tort Claims Act.
So our exposure is limited.
Yes, sir, correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor of approving item number 5, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carried. May I have the reading of item number 6, please?
Mayor and Council, item number 6 is to consider authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Baker Tilly to provide executive recruitment services to identify the next city manager. Baker Tilly submitted a proposal and made a presentation to you on January the 11th. The proposed fee to conduct the recruitment is $24,500. This item was placed on the agenda for your consideration.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of item number 6. May I have a motion, please?
So approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any discussion? No discussion? All in favor of approving item number 6, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carried. Ms. City Manager, would you please take us into the public hearing?
Yes, ma'am. Before the public hearing, to let the public know, they're going to consider an item. I'll go ahead and read it. It says, to consider the mandatory payment rate related to the local provider participation fund for fiscal year 2022. So back in 2015, the City Council authorized the city's participation in what is known as a municipal healthcare provider participation program to support the payment of Medicaid supplemental hospital payments, what are known as to safety net hospitals in the city. And at the same time, the City Council authorized the execution of indigent care affiliation agreements with Baptist Hospitals of Southeast Texas and Christus Hospital. The City of Beaumont is required to set the amount of the mandatory payments required to be paid by the hospitals. The mandatory payment must be uniformly proportionate with the amount of net patient revenue generated by each paying hospital in the municipality. So the mandatory rate for the fiscal year ending 2022 is set at 4.1%. So we are required to have a public hearing, Mayor, and it'd be appropriate to have it this time.
Thank you. The floor is open for the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Please come forward at this time.
I don't have any, Mayor.
Okay. There's no one, so I will close the floor. Mr. City Manager, may I have the reading of item number 7, please?
Yeah, it's, Mayor and Council, item number 7 is to consider setting the mandatory payment rate related to the local provider participation fund for fiscal year 2022. The administration recommends approval.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of item number 7. Is there a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any discussion?
I have a question, Mayor.
Councilmember Neal.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Manager, can you tell us what's the actual cost or projected cost for this?
I'll defer to our CFO who works with this closely. There's a small, I think, administrative fee that we receive for administering this fund.
Yeah, we're basically a pass-through entity between the hospitals and the state, and we actually get an administrative fee to basically run the program as an intermediary between the two of $20,000 a year. There is absolutely no cost to the city.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor of approving item number 7, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carried. We have another public hearing, dangerous structures. Mr. Boone, would you please explain the process? Thank you.
Chris, let me read, I'm sorry. Let me
Caption.
read caption real quick, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Boone. But we have an ordinance,
Thank you.
entitled an ordinance finding certain structures to be public nuisances. I'm sorry. Mic was off. I apologize. We have an ordinance entitled an ordinance finding certain structures to be public nuisances and ordering their demolition and removal or repair, providing for severability and providing for a penalty.
Thank you, Mr. Boone.
Yes, ma'am. In a moment, the council is going to consider orders whether or not to demolish the structures listed within this item. Prior to that, though, as mentioned by the manager, we'll have a public hearing where the owners of the structures will be able to petition for additional time to repair the structures. If the council were to grant that additional time, we just do need to go ahead and point out a couple rules that are associated with that. And primarily is if the council authorizes additional time, the owner would need to enroll in what's known as a work program within 10 days of today. In order to enroll in a work program, you must be the owner of the property, and the property must be current on taxes, or you must be enrolled in a tax program with a tax assessor collector. A work program consists of the following: that the structure must be dried in within 90 days. So the exterior windows, doors, roof needs to be secure. And then in the following 60 days, the restoration of the structure needs to be complete and a certificate of occupancy issued by the city. So a total of 150 days. So we do have these rules outlined here, both in English and Spanish. And again, if you're authorized for an additional time, we'd ask that you get with our staff on second floor to get a copy of these rules. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boone. The floor is now open for the public hearing. City Clerk, will you please read the names?
Terry Johnson, 9625 Phelan, Beaumont, Texas. Item number 2, 1195 Amarillo.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm just here to ask for an extension
Okay.
on the property 1195 Amarillo.
Okay, so you're asking for an extension?
Yes.
Okay, not a problem. You would just need to go to the second floor
Okay.
to start that process.
No, we have to vote on that.
Well, we're gonna vote all,
At
At the end.
You'll identify,
Right.
you'll identify which specific ones, and then once, if you approve it, then they can go to the second floor.
Right,
But no,
then you'll go to
I don't
the
want him to
second
go
floor.
right now and not know.
Right, no, don't go right now, I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
I have
Council,
I have a question.
okay, Councilmember Getz, and then we'll,
So, Mr. Johnson, is that your name?
Yeah.
The owner's identified on here as being a Barbie K. Boyd.
Boy, yeah,
Who is that? And-
my wife now.
Okay, that's your wife. You previously asked for and was granted an extension, is that correct?
Right.
Okay, and have you done any work on the property since that
Yeah,
time?
I've done, the whole garage area.
The garage area?
Yeah, that was the worst part of it.
Is the structure secure?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all. Councilmember Neal?
Thank you, Mayor. I mean, and that's my question as well. So this was already in the work program,
Yes.
and time has went up, and not much has been done to the house based off of the pictures that we have here.
Right, well,
We get lots of phone calls from concerned citizens and neighbors about houses like this,
right,
and creates a lot of issues for the city and citizens.
right.
And it really puts us in a bad situation whenever you come up here and we give extensions and then nothing happens, and then y'all come up and ask for them again, time and time again. I hope you trust that the council has to draw a line sometimes.
I understand that. But I had the time to do it. I had the 150 days, but then I had to stop because of the weather and the other tenants I have that are living in one of my houses. I have to fix them first. And then I couldn't get back to it in time to finish it. But now I have time to finish it.
You're finished, Councilmember Neal. Councilmember Felshaw?
And sir, as Councilmember Neal just stated, you know, this is kind of an awkward thing for us
Right.
to try to make sure we do what's right by each person. But just looking at the pictures, you feel like you have the ability, the resources to complete this project and do so in a timely manner?
Yes,
And your intention for the home, you have plans for this home to, I'm assuming you have some type of a plan to.
it's rental property.
It's rental property,
Yes.
okay. And this is not on a slab, is this on a slab or it's not? Okay. And just looking at the pictures, okay, well, I can't speak to that. It's just not, but it's not on a slab.
No,
Okay.
no.
And the understructure of this building, you feel like is sound?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
It's ugly looking, but it's there.
Okay. thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sir?
Sir, one moment. Councilmember Turner has a question. Thank you.
Mr. Boone, when we say a timely manner, I understand you said 150 days the first time. What is considered a timely manner after a first extension?
So the way the process works is if council authorizes additional time for this or any of the properties, again, the owner would have 10 days to enroll in a work program, and then what they would have, if they would have 150 days to basically bring any of the structures up to code, completely up to code. And if after 150 days goes by and that's not done, then the city will move forward with demolishing the structure. It would not come back to city council.
So make sure I'm following. The 150 days were already granted. So today we're talking about additional 150 days.
So just to clarify, there's two stages of work program. There's what we call the pre-council work program. So in other words, when we first red tag a structure, we send notification to the owner and letting them know, please repair the structure, please bring it up to code. And if we don't hear from them within 30 days, then we'll move forward with further demolition proceeding. But basically, the owner can come in and apply for a pre-council work program. So they would have 150 days to basically bring the structure up to code. If they do that, then we would never bring it to city council. But as you see in a lot of these cases, the work program is never completed. So we do bring them to city council, and then as today, they have another opportunity to request what we call a post-council work program. So if the council grants a work program today, it would allow an additional 150 days. So, and you'll see some of them have not come to us for a pre-council. Some of them have. And you'll see it listed on each staff report. It'll say owner enrolled in pre-council work program, yes or no. So you'll see whether or not they've tried to do a pre-council work program or not. But again, regardless, if you're authorized a work program today, they would have 150 days. It would not come back to y'all if the work is not completed.
Okay, so sir, you fully understand?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Duria.
On this particular building, said it was allowed 150 days plus a 90-day extension, so it's been allowed a total of 240 days from when he first came, and this, not much has been done.
Correct. You can see from the pictures, not much has been done for even, and in this case, even there's been an extension.
So, if the council decides not to give them an extension and go ahead on with the raise order, are they allowed to, until it's actually demolished, are they allowed to go out and work on that without having an extension?
No, sir. So if a work program is not authorized today, then we would issue no further permits for the property.
Okay. Councilmember Samuel.
Now, there are times individuals come back after a post-council and ask for 150 days, and they put significant efforts into the project. If it's not significant enough for staff to consider substantial amount, then that means that person loses
Right,
everything that you put in.
right.
You understand that?
I understand that.
Councilmember Getz.
On the other hand, Chris, and correct me if I'm wrong, if the person does put substantial work into it, but hasn't quite gotten everything done, my understanding is that your office in the past has been willing to work with those citizens to try to get them over the hump. Is that correct or not correct?
We try to, you can see prior to coming to council, we try to work with folks because at the end of the day, we want compliance. We're not anxious to tear any of these structures down because the city has to pay for it.
Right. Okay.
So we try to work with compliance, but after the council order, we try to adhere to the 150 days.
Understand. And at that point, the citizen's only remedy is to go to court if they feel like they need to do something. Okay.
Councilmember Felcher.
Sir, as Chris just mentioned, we're not in the business of tearing down homes. You know, this is a last resort. But considering the amount of time that you've had, and there's been no progress, and I understand there's extenuating circumstances that you mentioned to Councilman Neal, but we're in a position where we're kind of like a last stop. You know, the staff brings it to us as a last resort. So what would you say to us to convince us to give you another extension to do this time what you were not able to do last time?
Before I couldn't do it because I had to stop. This time I don't have to stop. I've got all my other rent properties secured and fixed up the way they should be.
So
Now
you're
I can
confident
give my
that this
full
time,
attention to this house.
even if there's other extenuating circumstances, you feel like you'll be
Not
able
that
to,
Yeah,
you're determined to do
I'm
this?
determined to get this house done.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Lawrence Hockless, 2540 Brickyard Road, Beaumont, Texas, item number 4, 2555 Brickyard.
Yes, I'm Lawrence Hockless, 2555 Brickyard.
I could barely hear you, sir. I'm sorry.
I'm Lawrence Hockless, 2555 Brickyard,
Okay.
and I wish to ask for an extension on my project I got going on Brickyard. I think I've come a long way with it, working off and on by myself. And I'm a Vietnam veteran, 1968, and I'm wanting to make a veteran place out of it, so we can something like a veteran club. And we used to have picnics every year, but we don't have them anymore because we have no place to go. So I asked for assistance with the VA program, which I'm under right now. I left my PTSD group this morning, and I told them I had a meeting downtown with the people, and I was gonna ask them for the extension and go through the VA program and do the proper paperwork and get some grants. So I need an extension.
Okay, sir, do you feel like you could get this done in 150 days?
Yes, I think I can get it done. I've been calling the guy to come put me up a mellow extension on it. Instead of going with wood, if you got the picture of the place where I tore off, I want to come with a sheet metal top, tin top on it. I want to make something like an event center for the veterans.
Yes, Councilmember Samuel, and then
Yes,
Councilmember Felshaw.
Chris, is that sixth picture, is that does it show the entire back wall out?
Excuse me, if you see that sixth picture, I think you're referring to, you see the Bobcat, I believe the
Yes,
entire back wall
yes.
is missing.
And it's open and accessible?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any means or any money at this time to begin construction, or are you looking for grants?
Well, I got partially my money. I got money, but I'm also looking for a grant. A loan from the bank, from the mobile credit union. I got to take my paperwork down there and put in a loan, get a business loan.
Mr. Hawkins, how long would it take you to have this structure at least closed? I mean, it's been open and accessible, and it's already been tagged.
Give me 150 days. It's closed in, because I'm gonna get the sheet metal man to come and frame it up. That back part that's open, that's where the sheet metal gonna close it all in, and then I can do my flooring and everything. I already got a friend of mine, Jeff Solstein. He's an electrician, and I got to get with him. I told him I wanted him to do the work. So that's where I'm at. I'm at the bank, between the bank and today.
Okay, let me ask Chris.
Yes, sir.
Is that where that Bobcat is? That's the rear wall?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And photo number 3, is that a different wall?
That's the same wall, it's just a little bit closer.
Yeah, see that Bobcat?
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
the Bobcat.
Yeah.
So he's gonna do the sheet metal work all the way down, but I'm gonna start off with sheet metal and that little opening I got there, have it closed in. I want the sheet metal top on it.
Councilmember Felshaw.
Yeah, this is Brickyard. This is the correct Brickyard.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, first of all, we appreciate your service to our country and what you're trying to do for our veterans. That means a lot, and that's what makes our community a great community, is people like you. But you owe $1,000 on taxes. This market value is only $8,000. In order to close this in, it sounds like you may have some of your own money, but it sounds like the bulk of your funding for this is going to come from a loan and grants.
No, that's just, no, it's not gonna come from that.
Okay,
It's gonna come from over Craig Union.
okay. But you haven't secured that loan yet, correct?
No, I told the lady, I got it on hold. I didn't know what the, you know,
Yeah.
I'm waiting to get my LLC license. Mr. Lawyer Monk done did the paper on it. And I got a bobcat business. I just recently.
Well, I think what you're trying to do is very commendable. I just worry about you doing it at this location. This piece of property looks like it's going to take more work, more time, more money than what you have right now. And to get this done within the time frame that the city would give you, I'm afraid you're not going to be able to complete all that. But again, we do appreciate what you're doing for our city, for our veterans.
I'm good.
I still would like, what you're trying to tell me, you're not gonna give me an extension on it?
No, sir, I'm not. I'm just pointing out the reality that you've got a building that is not closed in. There's a time limit placed on you, and you don't have your funds secured yet.
Well, I done bought my lumber and to close it in. I got lumber, I got the flooring, I got the steel beam. I just need some carpenters to get started. And well, first I'd like to get the sheet metal man to come and put the top on it. Just on that section there to get started.
Yes, sir.
You know, so if we be out the weather, and then they start on the flooring.
Yeah.
But I ought to have that done within 100 days,
Okay.
which I got the material to do it, but I don't have the manpower. And I don't have my secure loan from Mobile Credit Union, so that's where I'm going when I leave here.
I have a question.
Councilmember Getz and then Councilmember Turner.
This is for Chris. Organizations like Habitat for Humanity can do great things, as we saw recently when they stepped up to do the shelters for the homeless shelter. And those buildings were in pretty bad, rough shape. Maybe not quite to the extent of this one, but they were in bad shape. Almost any building can be rehabilitated with enough money allocated. Is that organization something that is looking for homes to work on, or do you have any knowledge of that, or how could maybe they help in a situation like this?
So Habitat for Humanity, of course, they have a single-family construction and rehab, and we partner with them on minor repair program through our CDBG program, but it's limited to about $5,000.
I see.
Whereas this project, would be significant.
Yes.
And you could certainly reach out to them, but.
Okay.
Councilmember Turner.
Mr. Boone, this program has already been a pre-council work program, correct? Similar to the last, correct?
Yes, sir.
So this will be additional dates.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah. But you just said that I can give it the Habitat of it to assist me?
You could give them a call and see if they could do anything for you. I can't make that representation because I don't know what their limitations are, but it's a possibility. I wanted to throw that out there for you as a resource. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Hawkins, again, thank you for your service.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry Wood, 6470 Phelan, Beaumont, Texas, item number 5, 2360 Calder.
What's next?
My name is Larry Wood, and I am with American Real Estate, and I represent the seller in the transaction for the property at 2360. We've had the property on the market since July of last year. When I became involved in the property, we immediately put it on the market for sale. We have had multiple showings in trying to sell the property. To my knowledge, there has been no one from the city contacted me or the seller about going inside the building. Granted, on the west side of the building, there are some siding that is messed up. The building is vacant. And, you know, we're just trying to market and sell the property. And the owner had contacted me last week, within the last 10 days or 2 weeks ago, and told me about the city council meeting. And I explained to him, I said, there's no one from the city contacted me about going inside the building. Are there photographs of the inside of the building?
Look like there's one potential picture of the inside. Mr. Boone, could you please speak to it?
Yeah, I can see where the siding and the soffit is messed up, and it appears that there has been someone inside. And after the storm, the owner tried to mitigate the damage, and of course their business was affected by the multiple hurricanes that had occurred, and so they went in and gutted to mitigate the damage, to keep mold from growing, which they've effectively done that. But it's my understanding that the city wants us to either repair the building or tear it down. And I guess the general consensus is, obviously we'd like longer to try to market and sell the building. If we made some minor repairs to the outside of the building, to the outside structure on the west side, to mitigate the eyesore. The lumber inside this building is horrendous. I mean, it's invaluable, the cost of the lumber that's in that building.
And we're sure the owner signed up for a work program which allowed them 150 days to make the repairs. But there's been no permit pull and there's been no work done.
Oh, they,
Yes, sir. Look at the other paper. I don't know if they made you aware of that. Oh, I thought Chris
No,
handed it to him.
I was not aware that anyone signed up for a work program.
Mayor?
Councilmember Neal, and then Councilmember Getz.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, that was gonna be my comment. Just wanna make sure all the facts get put out there, because it's making it sound like none of this information has been given to the property owner before. And based off of the documentations that we have, I just wanna confirm that this was in a work program previously.
When was that?
And then the next thing,
Mr.
Mr. Boone, can
Boone.
you confirm that this wasn't a work program?
This wasn't a work program, right? Yes.
Okay, and then the next thing that I wanted to mention was, you said that nobody has contacted you. Well, we don't reach out to realtors typically in this situation, but I just want to confirm from Chris Boone that something was sent to the property owner.
Yes, sir. We send a written notification to the property owner in all these cases, yes.
Are you Mr. Norris, the
This is
property
Henry.
owner?
This is Henry Norris.
Okay. Councilmember Getz have a question?
Right, and I've spoken with Mr. Norris. He called and reached out to me on this. And Chris, ordinarily what we ask owners to do is to, at least at the first stage, secure the building and to make sure it's dried in. Are those things done in this building, in your opinion?
The building is secured. It is secured from the outside, yes, sir.
And it's dried in. So what would the owner, Mr. Norris, need to do to satisfy your office that they're making progress and to warrant another 150 days? What would he need to do during that time?
So once it's dried in, the balance of what has to be done is brought up to code.
Okay. And this is an older building. If not for the storm damage, you know, he wouldn't have had to do anything to bring it up to newer codes. Does he need to return it to the condition that it was in prior to the storm damage and the codes in place at that time, or does he need to go through and, I don't know if it needs sprinkling or you know, current codes? I just don't know how that works.
Right, so he needs to bring it up to current codes. Now, there is an existing building ordinance, but in my opinion, it looks like the interior studs seem to be in good shape, but the electrical system would need to be brought up to code and inspected, the plumbing system, HVAC system.
Okay. Do you understand that, Mr. Norris?
Yes, sir. Well, like I was saying earlier, I did pull a permit on that building, and I worked on it. I put all the plywood on all the windows, painted it. I painted all the front, put new plywood on the front.
Yeah, that's cosmetic kind of stuff. What he's
Yeah,
talking about,
cosmetic,
yeah.
I didn't do much inside because I was wanting to sell it.
Okay.
It's a burden to me, but I mean, I like to go, and if I could keep on tearing it down, maybe he could find somebody to work on it, maybe we can get it sold. But, you know, I mean, I'm with y'all. I'm ready to tear it down if the price is right. You know, I don't want to spend no $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to tear it down, you know. But I love it. I mean, if I could get it reasonable, and then y'all put a lien on it, and then when I sell the property, and the taxes are paid up on it, and everything's right on it. You know?
Mr. Boone, if he was to sign a consent order, this is a commercial structure. We generally require property owners to pay us or reimburse us for demolishing a commercial structure. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We would invoice them. There's also a penalty and accrued interest if they don't pay it, and then we do attach a lien to the property. But if it were paid immediately, then.
So do you have any feel for what it would cost to demolish a property this size? It's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
You don't know if there's asbestos there.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
You'd have to do a proper analysis.
So we bid out these projects as a big package.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if y'all did try to, I know you tore a bunch of buildings down through town, what do you think the estimate would be to be teared down? I mean, ballpark?
It's hard to say because we have to do, because it's commercial asbestos testing, and then if we find asbestos abatement, and so that is a big X factor, and so it's just hard to estimate. It's hard to estimate.
I'd say, whatever y'all decide, you know,
I'm gonna leave it up to my relative. I hope he sells it for, you know, if we keep it $150, whatever it is, and get it sold. If we don't, then we'll just have to go with it, and tear it down.
Councilmember Turner.
So to my understanding, it's kind of sound like the only option you're looking to sell, and if you can't sell, then tear down. So not looking to make the repairs, just looking to sell as is, correct?
I think it'd be, you know, like I say, with city ordinance and everything, it would be
Too expensive.
It'd be $1 million to fix that building, I guess, or $100,000 or so. So I don't think it'd be.
The building, we've had several key players look at it, and the building is excessively large. It's a 2-story building. But the building would have a lot of use if half of it could be torn down. The back portion of it, the L shape, could be just totally demoed. And the building would make a wonderful, wonderful location. We've got ample, adequate parking. McFadden to Calder Street parking. And that's what we've been trying to do.
Like I say, I did put right after the storm, I put about a $26,000 roof on it. That rubber roof. It's all, I put it right after the storm, after it got there. When I had it demolished, inside, I put a new roof on it. I paid about almost $30,000 really for it.
Mayor.
Councilmember Getz.
So what you're asking now is additional time to try to market the house, and then
Yeah.
if not, you're willing to sign a consent order to demolish it?
Yes.
But it would still have to come back for council to be voted on again if you did that.
If he signs a consent order, does that have to be voted on by council?
No, sir.
Okay.
It would not? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it?
That's it?
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Everything y'all done.
Maddie Berry and Johnny Beatty, 2999 Corley Street, Beaumont, Texas, item number 7, 1315 Caldwell.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Beatty.
Well, I'm here to request an extension on the property 1315 Caldwell.
Caldwell,
Yes.
number 7. Okay, Mr. Beatty, what are you requesting?
An extension
An extension to get in the
to
work
repair.
program?
Yes.
The house is still open and accessible.
Yes.
How long would it take to close it in? At least get it closed?
Well, I was working on the foundation, and I had some individuals that didn't do a very good job, so I had to dismiss them. And I've since hired an individual from, I've hired an individual. I've paid a down payment to have it leveled. That was the first thing that I was planning to do. And I've hired an electrician. So I'm pretty much confident that I could have this done in less than 150 days, but I just need some additional time to work on it, because as I was working on it, my permit expired, and I wasn't aware that it had expired, and that's why I'm here today, because I had been working on it. But I've had some individuals that were not competent.
Councilmember Feldshaw.
Sir, we're looking at just a snapshot
Yes.
And it's hard sometimes for us to really assess the condition of a building, but it does say that the roof is sagging and the eaves are rotting. I mean, do you really, again, when you get into, I'm not a contractor, so I wouldn't, I really can't speak to that, but with what limited experience I have, I do know if you get into roof work and going in and trying to deal with a sagging roof, you feel like you can get this done in a reasonable amount of time, and you have the resources to complete this project.
Yes, sir. I've had a couple of houses that have been in bad shape like this, and I've completed it. And basically, I'm just trying to get these houses squared away so that I could put them back on the tax roll and put some individuals, rent them out to some individuals that low to moderate income individuals that may need housing, and affordable housing, I should say. But yes, I'm confident that I could fix this, repair it, rehabilitate it.
Well, Mr. Beatty, by no means do we need to even explain the process to you. You know the process.
I know it well.
If you feel you could get it done.
Yes.
And you say you could get it done, then, like I said, you know the process and you know how it works.
I'm very familiar with the process.
Right.
Thank you. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you. No other discussion, right? Okay, thank you.
Nicholas Bryant, 3635 Winged Drive, Beaumont, Texas, item number 9, 1469 Corley.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Bryant, representing 1469 Corley Street. I'm asking for additional time. I was on the pre-council program. This house is secured, dried in. I'm on my final phase of inspection. I went through all my rough ends, HVAC, plumbing, framing. The house is leveled. Like I said, I'm asking for more time. I don't need the entire 120 days, but I do need some more time. I put significant, advances into the property since I bought it. I'm determined to finish. I understand that there can be a nuisance to the neighborhood, so I am understanding of those things. But like I said, I'm on my final phase of inspections. I'm on my final electrical inspection. I'm waiting on HVAC just to order of operation. I want to do electrical first, then HVAC final inspection. But all my rough ends have been done. And I do have the funds to finish, so I am asking for additional time.
Councilmember Turner.
Mr. Boone, he's stating he's on his final inspections. Is there any way to verify that we are there with the final inspections?
I do understand the framing and the rough end has been final, but there's as you can tell from the photographs, there's still some work to be done. So we would need to do final inspections for all trades.
And like I say, I'm on my finals. I called in the electrical final. It failed, and one of the reasons it failed because someone stole the copper out of my weatherhead, which passed on the rough end. So the things that it failed on the electrical, something I've already covered on the rough end. So I'm not dismissing this property and ignoring it. It's just certain circumstances have brought me here, but.
Mr. Boone, he stated he made some significant progress. Can we verify if that progress has been made?
We do have the inspection records. I don't have them here with me. I do know that this property, I guess there was an original work program with 2 4-month extensions. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I've had extensions. Yes, sir.
But to answer your question, Councilman, we can get you those records.
Okay, so you're requesting to have another 150-day.
Yes, ma'am, but I'm communicating to everyone up here. I don't need 150 days. That's just the time period that y'all selected. I would choose a shorter option, 60 days, 90 days if it were me. But 150 days, you won't see my face again. This is my first time going through this process. So, or the first time of anything, there's growing pains and growing curves, so it takes additional time. So, like I say, this is my first time, but I don't need 150 days, but I am asking for 150 days. to finish everything. But I'm on my finals. Brian is the guy that I talk to for the electrician. He's the guy. You can talk to the people upstairs. They can almost identify my face with the address number, so that they know I've been up there and I did everything I could to expedite this process. Some of the things that I couldn't anticipate going through this process is dealing with contractors, and they walk off on you. What do? So you have to hire another one. You call, hire another one. So those things with your first time cost you time. And so, like I say, I apologize for taking this much time, but I am requesting for an extension.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Sorry. I think this is Rex Kessler, P.O. Box 8861, and I think that's Houston, Texas. Item number 138465 Frazier.
Good afternoon. I am the attorney for the lien holder, U.S. Bank National Association. The owner is a Mr. Ian Culbertson. I'm here requesting that this matter be removed from the presentation packet for today's agenda, and requesting that for several reasons. First of all, I do not certain that Mr. Culbertson is aware of what's going on. We are his lien holder. He is current on his mortgage, but he is not in communication with us. In addition, in examining the real property records last night, I find that the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development provided Mr. Culbertson a roughly an $8,500 loan secured by a second lien deed of trust. Ours would be the first lien. In July of this year, 2021. And so, I'm pretty confident HUD is not aware of this hearing at this point, and it would, I think, be valuable to not only my client, Mr. Culbertson, but the city to have HUD involved, because I think they might be exert some pressure on Mr. Culbertson that we cannot theoretically exert, because perhaps that loan was designed to repair this property. It kind of went in, it came in about the same time that first letters were going out on this, from what I can tell. So if we were to remove it from the agenda, allow HUD to get involved, we might be back here shortly, but I will also impress upon the client how important it is to get a hold of Mr. Culbertson so that he can take action if he chooses to. Obviously, we're not the owner, so we cannot participate in the program to extend time to repair it. So our avenue to gain a little extra time would be to remove from the agenda today and see if we can't get Mr. Culbertson and or HUD or both of them involved in this process.
Go ahead, Mr. Getz. Councilmember Getz.
All right, this property I'm very familiar with. It's in Ward 2, with which I serve. And my understanding is that the property is occupied by the relatives of the owner of the property. And it is a junkyard out in the front yard. Am I understanding you correct, saying you're an attorney and you represent somebody that loaned money to, what is your involvement again?
Yeah, that is correct. U.S. Bank is a holding owner. It was a 2014 purchase money loan by Mr. Culbertson that my client holds a lien on, and he is servicing the debt.
So he's paying the seller of the property.
Or he's paying the mortgage company to finance the purchase, yes.
Okay, so, and yet he is continuing to create a tremendous nuisance, so much so this has been declared, I believe, a public nuisance, and that is an extraordinary remedy that for the city to go through. I personally participated in trying to help him clean up the yard, and we filled up a lowboy full of junk out of the front yard and had it hauled off, me and another citizen, only to have it filled back up with junk within a couple of weeks. And the neighbors on that street are absolutely besides themselves with this. So while I appreciate the fact that you're here on behalf of your client, where's Mr. Culberson, the owner of the property?
That you may know more than we do. He's not in communication with us. And I guess that's the premise of a removal, even this removal will set on the agenda for 30 days. So we can address and get Mr. Culberson in this matter if he's going to. If he's not, then the council obviously can do what they need to do.
What is the balance that Mr. Culberson owns on this property approximately?
Excuse me?
Can you say what the balance is that Mr. Culberson owns on this property approximately?
I don't know. It was a $41,000 loan in 2014. I'm going to assume it was a 30-year amortization. It would be in the 35 range, I would guess, if he amortized, if loan's current.
Have you seen the pictures? Do you know how the property look?
I saw the pictures and I intended to drive by before I got here today, but I got stuck out on I-10 behind an accident. Yeah, I've seen it.
I can vouch for the accident.
It is a public nuisance. It's horrible. It's unbelievable.
Let me, can I finish one thing? Let me read for his benefit something from our report that I don't think you have. The interior is missing floors. There are transients staying in the backyard, so there is trash and junk motor vehicles in the rear. The front of the property has a roll-off dumpster in the front along with mounds of trash. Are you aware of all of that?
Some of that.
Okay. Councilmember Samuel, I'm sorry, Councilmember Nealding, Councilmember Samuel.
I just want to say, I don't think we need to be wasting our time even talking about this one. I think this one is this is the easiest decision this council's made since I've been on council. I mean, we've been fighting this thing since literally the entire time I've been on council, and there's always one excuse after the other, and time's up. It's done. Let's move on. You got a problem, go file an injunction, and we fight it out that way.
I don't think my client's been here seeking an extension of time that I know of.
Well, that's my opinion.
Councilmember Samuel.
I don't think we have the ability to negotiate with you. You don't have standing at this point. You know that you can go to the county, file an injunction. We can't. If Mr. Culberson were here, that would be a different story.
Great.
I just want to say, I don't see where they have grounds for an injunction anyways. We went through every process on this thing, including making it a public nuisance, and you guys have done absolutely nothing.
Mr. Neal, in fairness, not him. He's not the owner of the property. He's just the guy who helped finance, who financed the owner of the property to allow him to buy it.
You got to be careful who you loan money to.
So what is your request?
No.
He's not the owner.
He's not the
That's
owner.
right. You can't even make a request.
Yeah, that's our problem. That's the upshot of the problem. That we have not been able to get any action out of him. And I understand your.
Neither have we.
Yeah, and you may have more leverage than we do. But I would impress upon my client how important it would be if we were to get a removal for 30 days.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Next item.
Devin Brown, 348 Garland Street, Beaumont, Texas. That's item number 15, 348 Garland.
Hello, Devin Brown, representing 348 Garland. I'm here to ask for an extension.
Number 15.
more grass in the living room than in my yard.
So this is your first request?
Yes, this is my first one, first request. I just bought the properties 6 months ago. I just moved out here from California, went to Lamar University, played for the football team. Now I'm planning on doing student living for the athletic department there. With those two homes, I have 328 right next door to it. So I'm in the process of dealing with the contractors and getting everything situated with that. I'm currently working on 328 right now.
Well, welcome to Beaumont, and you're a brave young man.
Thank you.
To challenge this. Councilmember Felsher.
Sir, again, we're limited here, but is that vegetation growing in the living room? Is some type of vine?
It's not the living room. Yes.
Okay. Well, is that a bedroom or?
Yes, it's the side room. Yes.
And so that is some type of
vine. Yes.
Yeah, vine that's growing into the.
From the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So the roof.
No, it's not from the roof. It's from the ground.
So
like
the floor is compromised.
Like from the outside, it's coming through like the sides of the cracks of the home.
So this slab, this is a slab home. Is it, so the slab is compromised? It's growing from the slab, between the slab and the wall?
Yes.
Okay, so there is this, you have slab damage? Is it sinking?
No, it's not sinking.
Okay, so the wall is just separated?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Neal.
Can you be done in 150 days?
Absolutely.
Do you have a current permit now?
No, we haven't. I'm actually about to get the permit within these next 10 days. Like I said, I just moved out here 2 months ago. I'm currently working on right next door to it, 328. We're finishing up that home, and then we're moving on to 348.
Councilmember Turner.
And this will be your first pre-council work program. Would this be his first?
So
I see on it, it doesn't have he's applied before.
Yeah, he did not. I think he just acquired the property in August,
Yeah.
but has not applied for a pre-council work program.
Councilmember Samuel.
Okay, not for you particular, but Mr. Boone, can you explain, I'm sure there are some that hadn't gone through this process, when a person has not gone through the pre-council request for extension, and they come before us, there's no way we can verify whether they have the ability to move forward with the program and do this or not. But normally, in the past, what we've done when they've come requesting additional time, we've given that additional time. Even in light of those cases that we did not see that it was possible for them to complete. But there is no way that we can do that. Am I correct? And that's the way we've done it most of the time in the past.
Most of the cases, if they come to council and ask for a work program, it's typically granted.
And then that means there would have to be substantial completion prior to the expiration of the 150 days. Is that correct?
So on the 150th day, the project has to be complete.
Okay, has to be complete. And we monitor to make sure there is significant progress being made.
Yes, sir. So we'll go out at the 90-day point to make sure it's dried in, and then we'll go out at the 150-day point to
And
make sure it's complete.
normally what happens if it's not dried in that 90-day period?
We will go ahead and begin the bid process to demolish the property. And we notify the property owner.
We notify the property owner. We begin to move forward with the process as if it's not being done.
Correct.
It does not have to come back to council.
No, sir.
Okay. So at that point, whatever they put in it, whatever they put into the project, if it's not dried in 90 days and not completed within 150 days, then we will have an order to tear it down, demolish.
That's correct.
Okay.
Councilmember Turner.
So quick question for clarity. Appreciate it. If he put money into this project and it wasn't dried in, it still can be demolished within 90 days. So I just want to make sure you are 100% clear of
Yeah.
what was just stated.
Yes. It'll be closed in, dried in within the 90 days. It'll be finished within 150 days.
Okay. And that's why I continue to make sure we express that to all of those listening, all of those coming after this. We have no way of verifying whether you have the ability or the funds to complete the project. But if it's not done, the only way you stop it at that point is to get a court injunction. And if you don't do that, you lose what you've put in. So
Right.
that's not just for you, sir, but this is a hell of a decision that we have to make. This is probably one of the hardest things we have to do. Tear down property have owners. We don't know who can do and who can't. There have been times I've seen people I thought for sure couldn't finish the job, and they've done it. And there's been those that I know had the ability to get it done, and they didn't. But either way, if it's torn down, we're the bad guys that had the house torn down. We're the bad guys if we don't get it torn down, and this is what someone has to look at every day that they go home to a property that they're putting money in. So I just wanted to make sure that this is understood, because I don't want to make that decision of me who can afford to and who can't. They come forward, I say, okay, you've taken the effort to come and request the extension, but I tell you, if it's not done, it's going to be torn down whether you like it or not. So that's it.
Councilmember Neal.
Were you aware that this property was red tagged when you bought it back in August?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Brown, thank you.
Thank you.
Lowell Boudreaux, 9155 Landis Drive, Beaumont, Texas. Item number 234070, Houston.
That was 15. Hello, Mr. Boudreaux.
Good evening. How are y'all doing on the council board?
23.
I'm Lowell Boudreaux. I have this property on 4070 Houston Street. And I'm not sure if I can get like a recontinuance or try to fix it. The house is not in my name. And my aunt, my cousin, she's in Rochester, New York. She's not coming back. And that's been my grandfather's property. And I asked her, could I have the property to try to bring it back up to the speed? I have the property next door, and I had some tenants that stayed in there, and I went numerous times to the court to try to get those people out the house. They allowed them some extra time, and the people tore up the house. And it began to cost me a lot of money trying to get it back together. With COVID, I guess, and everything, it's hard to find contractors. And I don't know if y'all would allow me the 150 days to try to bring it to the speed, or what would it cost to tear it down?
So, Mr. Boudreaux, okay, it's the property in your name?
No, it's not.
So, Deborah Gilmore, you
That's
said
my
is your-
first cousin. My grandfather had two of his sons' house built on that property. And we got it twisted some kind of way that my house got torn down. The house that my dad was living in was her house. Before he died, he gave me the house, and we found out later that the house was torn down next door was mine. And this house belongs to her in Rochester, New York. So I called and told her, and she said, look, I'm gonna just sell the house to somebody. I said, well, the house is not neither one of our names. We got these houses by heirs. My dad passed, your dad passed. But I wanted to keep the Boudreaux's property together. And that's where we at right now. And I told her, I said, if need be, if they need to tear it down, I'll pay the taxes and just keep the property, and maybe later on in the future, I'll try to build something on there. But I went to Deuce and I told him, I said, I got people that I tried to help, let them stay in the house during the storm. And he told me something about squatters law. I couldn't get them people out. When he allowed them to stay there, they took hot water, heat, everything that wasn't fastened down, they took it out that house. And it's costing me right now. I done got all the stuff in my garage, but it's not on that house.
Well, Mr. Boudreaux, first thing, by you not being the owner, we really can't even discuss it with you. So you might talk to your cousin to get the property transferred into your name.
Well, that's what I was talking to a lady. She told me that I can speedily do it by me being on that road. She told me to get to some letter, send that, let them notarize it, come back and try to put it. It's gonna take time. I said, but time running is all right now. And I told her that I will pay the taxes on it until we can get it did. But if y'all need to tear it down, then is it gonna cost me or her that y'all tear it down?
It's gonna cost Deborah Gilmore if she's the owner.
I can answer that. If the rightful owner will give their consent, the city will tear it down and still own the lot. No liens filed in that case. Is that correct?
Correct. We won't take ownership of the lot. The owner will still own it, and we won't attach a lien because it's residential.
You'll own the
Okay,
lot.
so y'all can tear it down, and then we can still work to where I can get the property along with mine next door.
Your cousin will still own the property,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna get it from her, transfer it to me.
and
Yeah.
we won't take ownership of the property.
Okay, that's what I want to find out.
You would just have to work it out with her,
Okay,
okay?
okay. So do I have time, or just still let her know that y'all gonna tear it down?
Well, there's two avenues. Either she can give her consent and we'll take it down, or if the council does not grant an extension, which they would not because the rightful owner's not here, then we'll move forward through the normal bid process to take it down.
Do she need to contact y'all?
She doesn't have to, but
She doesn't have to. But
she could.
Because I had just talked to her briefly before I got in here and let her know that she's not coming back here. She's in Rochester, New York, and she's not coming back.
So if your family doesn't do anything, we're going to continue with the process, and it will be torn down.
Okay, so what, we need to fix the house? or-
No.
Mr. Boudreaux, to make it clear, had the owner been here, she could have requested an extension.
Yeah.
You can't. So right now, it's gonna be as if no one came forward to request an extension, and it will move forward with being torn down.
Okay.
And if that means it will be torn down, she will still own the property.
That's good.
But the house will be torn down.
Do they have so many days that they gonna tear it down?
Well, it goes into a bid list.
Yes, sir. So it'll take at least 30 days to go through the bid process, and we'll notify the owner as well. So.
Right. But I don't suggest doing any work on the property because right now it is scheduled to be torn down because there's no work program.
Okay.
And no one can go in and begin to work on it to
Right.
try to bring it up to date right now.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to find out. You know, I didn't want to put anything in it, and because I went that other day and I said, let me have the lights and stuff turned on. The cable was cut off of it, and I said, well, don't look like it's gonna have no work. I'm not finna put no money into it until it, we find out what's what. That's why I came down here today.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
All right. Well, thank y'all so much.
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Karen Villanova, 645 Iowa Street, Beaumont, Texas. Item number 24, which is 645 Iowa.
Good afternoon. My name is Karen Villanueva, and my property is on 645 Iowa. I'm here to request an extension. First of all, to start working on my property, which it was a contractor who's supposed to fix it or adding some more room, and he just destroyed my property. I paid him $17,000, and he just worked for a week, opened the house, and he left. Then I have to go to a lawyer to open a case. I pay the lawyer, whatever, whatever my savings was, I start a case. Last time we went to court, that was before pandemic. We did the hearing in front of the judge. He said that, he will be working on it. And after that, I didn't hear anything. I even went this morning with my lawyer, and he said that because of the pandemic, he's really behind on cases. So at this point, I know what is going on with my property. It's not just a property, that's my home, honestly. I have 3 kids, and I worked so hard to buy that property. It was perfect I want to add an extra room, fix my bathroom, and add the kitchen. Fix a better kitchen. And it happened, like I said, with the contractor. And after that, it was hard for me to get in place. I even, 2 weeks ago, I noticed that the guy that I was paying $80 every 2 weeks to go and clean the property, he didn't clean it up. He goes every now and clean up the property. Even the neighbors, they start to give the material, my door, because I see it on the next door. I was like, that's my door, but that's okay. Like I say, I just, at this point, I don't believe on laws anymore. I don't believe on no one. I have trust issues, and if I have to do it on my own, I have to. This was my resolution, to provide the home that my kids deserve.
Okay, thank you. So you're requesting a work program?
Yes.
We see that you haven't been in one before.
No.
This is your first request?
That's my first one.
Okay. Thank you. That's it?
That's it.
James Williams, 3130 Tracy Street, Beaumont, Texas. Item number 29, 3165 Magnolia.
29.
For the most part, requesting extended time on.
Could you raise the mic up, sir?
Sorry.
I can't hear you.
That's James Williams, 3130 Tracy Street. We are speaking about location 3165 Magnolia Street. I'm requesting an extension of time. I'm familiar with the work program. I've had some unforeseen delays. I'm confident I can bring the property into compliance if I'm granted an extension of time. Basically why I'm here today. I've got family out of town, out of state rather, and I had some with the unforeseen events of COVID. I've lost 2 individuals in my family, different times, and I've been delayed going back and forward. I feel with adequate time, I can bring it into proper compliance if I'm granted that extension.
Okay, Mr. Williams, first of all, I'm sorry for your loss. I show that you've been in a work program for 150 days. You've been given 3 extensions. Mr. Boone, those extensions were 90-day extensions?
Yes, ma'am.
So you've had 3 90-day extensions and a 150-day work program and it hasn't been complete. So if you enter into another work program and if it's voted on and approved, you do realize any work that you put into it, if it's not completed in the 150 days, will be wasted and it will be demolished.
Understood, understood.
Okay.
I'm confident I can get that done within that time.
Okay, Mr. Williams. Thank you.
Cheryl Page, 1410 West Florida, Beaumont, Texas. Item number 34, 1615 Park.
Item 34.
And good afternoon. My name is Cheryl Page, and I own 1615 Park Street. Can you hear me? 1615 Park Street. I purchased this property in a delinquent tax auction. Actually, several properties, and this one was delayed for different reasons. But I do have the resources to complete the job. I've been in the program, so you will show that I was. There were some things I didn't know about rehabbing commercial properties initially. But what I've done on the property so far, I had an asbestos survey done. The asbestos abatement has been done. There's water to the property. I've been paying for the city water account for over a year, so I'm not going to, it's not my purpose to have it torn down. Right now I have a contract for a new roof because it's not closed in. What I did was, when they determined it was asbestos, I had everything taken out. The walls, and also the ceiling, just to make sure. So if I did use it or if I did sell it, that wouldn't be an issue down the road. So currently I have a contract with, another issue about the structural, I had a structural analysis done by Ted Hart, and I have the documentation showing that the building is sound. The only thing that I need to do right now is close it in, put the roof on. I can have that done within the next 30 days because I was working on other projects. And this one, because it wasn't in a residential neighborhood, and I didn't see it as a nuisance, and I don't know if it's been declared that or not, but the building is secured as far as there's some openings where we had taken out bad wood, and I put chain link fencing in it to prevent people from going in. I go by a few days at a time to make sure nobody's set up residence in there or are creating a hazard by occupying the building for means other than what I would intend. So what I have going for me now is that the roof I can have probably constructed within 30 days, have it closed in. I have a contractor for the electrical. My plumber has already gotten water to the building, and like I said, I have a water account and water and sewer account that we've been paying for over a year. What I plan to do with the building, because I own property around Beaumont rental properties, and predominantly I rent to people who are in lower income categories, generally on Section 8. But what I plan to use the building for is for my office. I plan to have an open office plan and then the back part of the building to use for storage because I keep materials for the properties that I own in storage in different areas, and I'll be able to consolidate this in one place. So I do have the funds. I just needed the contractors to work with. I've had some I didn't have so much luck with, but I do have some people that I work with now that I trust to get it done.
Okay, so you're requesting
I am requesting
150 day
extension,
work program extension.
I have a question there.
Councilmember Neal.
Thank you. How long have you owned this property?
I purchased it September of 18.
September of 18?
Yes.
Okay, and this property's been red tagged since July of 18.
Yes. But as I said, the structure is sound and it is secure. There are no people that have set up, squatting in there or any, as far as I know, there's been no complaints about it. It sits on the corner of Royal and Park Street. And I keep the property mowed twice a month. And like I said, I check on it to make sure that there's nothing in there that would be a hazard to other people. In fact, there's some demo, I don't know if you have the old pictures. I tried to print out the old pictures, but my printer's not working so well. But there were metal things that were hanging down. There was a structure on the back that was falling in. I took all of that out to make sure that it wouldn't be a hazard to anyone if they just happened to get on the property. So I've taken a lot of steps to secure it. The only thing that I need to do now is just to finish the close in and get the electrical there. Like I said, I have the plumbing there already, the water to the building, and spigots for the work. But I can show if they need me to that I have the funds to complete, and I can show them the plans for completion.
Councilmember Samuel.
Yes, that's right down the street from where I used to office, and I do recall it was in worse condition than this at one point.
Much worse.
Can we verify that most of the changes, it looks
It's been cleaned up substantially.
much better, that has been done since September of 18? Okay. And you do understand that
Yes, I
once
absolutely
you
understand.
start, it's on you.
I know.
Okay.
I can take care of it.
Councilmember
And you do have a
Shelton.
contract for the roof, you said?
Yes, I can show that to them because once I get the permit signed, they're just waiting for me because I got the letter and I told them we can't move until I get this cleared up with the setting. And I've done this on other properties too. I've worked with the department. Delancey's been very helpful and helping me get extensions where I needed on other properties, and we've been able to take properties that people thought weren't going to be able to be used. I have a house that I fixed on 410 Iowa, near where the young lady who just spoke, and it looked like a tear down, but it really wasn't. And I hate to see all these houses that we see in South Park and different places that are going to be torn down, and they're building new houses that aren't built as well. And I just think it's a shame when you see these properties go because people don't pay taxes on it. The city waits, not the city, but the county, the collectors, they wait until the house is in complete disrepair before they're put up for auction for somebody to take and do something with. And I've done that on a few properties here, and I know I can do it with this one.
Well, thank you so very much, Ms. Page.
All right, thank you.
David and Barbara Jones, 2116 Kingfisher Court, League City, Texas. Item number 35, 2760 Palestine.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Daniel.
No,
it's fine. I just want to make sure the paperwork.
I'm sorry,
if it has to
Daniel.
be.
It looks like David. My apologies.
That's his dad's name, so it's okay. We're 2151 St. Anthony, and then we also have 2760 Palestine. We purchased these homes at a sheriff's sale in August of 21. We have not been through a work program for either property. But, we
One
are
moment,
requesting
you
an
said
extension.
St. Anthony's?
I'm sorry, she
I have
has
two.
number 35 and number 45.
Okay.
35 is 2760 Palestine, and number 45 is 2151 St. Anthony. I just saw the two green slips. My apologies.
Continue.
So we are requesting an extension for both properties. We purchased properties about 5 months ago. On the one on San Anthony, both of them had stuff galore in them. So we've gotten all the stuff, gotten it detrashed. The one on San Anthony had to have termite treatment because it was really, really bad. Contractors have went in and replaced the beams in the home. So we're just getting ready to put it back until we got this notice. We noticed the person that keeps up with the lawn noticed the red tag on the house in November. And when I called, they said they would send me out a letter. They sent out the letter, and here we are.
And to our naivety, we didn't know when we purchased the house from the sheriff auction that there was a time limit
Right.
to get it repaired. We did not know that then, so now we're here, the urgency to get it prepared.
Which is not an issue.
So
I mean, if we
you-
have a time frame, if we are extended that 150 days, we definitely could get them together.
So you're requesting a work program on both,
Yes, ma'am.
and you can get them both completed in 150
This is what we
days?
do.
We're general contractors.
We're general contractors.
God bless you.
But in the same, I do have a question. For the one on St. Anthony's, we're possibly considering tearing it down ourselves, building a new house, possibly, I don't know if a multi-unit family is allowed in that particular neighborhood. Are there any penalties to do that if we do it ourselves? I wouldn't think so.
So if you were to tear down the structure, I would ask you to check with our office to see what the zoning is to make sure you can do that. But regardless, whether you could do a single family or multiple family, depending on the zoning, you would just work through the same office for permitting.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
MB Makicha, I think it is, 4320 Pebble Beach Drive, Beaumont, Texas. Item number 43, 750 Shell.
Shell Street, 43.
Item number 43, yes, ma'am.
What's the name?
Number 43.
What's his name?
MB Makicha, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for coming in.
Thank you all. I'm just here to request an extension. I know we have requested this before and we got delayed. We approached the city the first week of January for the permits, and we were told that we'll have to come and attend this hearing to request to see if we can proceed with our extension and the finishing of the work. So basically, we are ready to do the work if you can get the permission to extend.
Councilmember Samuel.
Are you a part of Mahaver Holdings?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. We just want to make sure you are
Yes, sir.
the owner.
Yes, Mahavir. It's under the name of Mahavir Holdings, and I'm representing Mahavir Holdings.
Okay, when you say you're representing, you're not one of the owners?
Yeah, of course I'm the owners.
Okay. Well, sir, we show that you were given a 150-day work program. You owe $814 in back taxes, and your property is valued at $5,000.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that. For some reason, we want to fix it, and we can take care of the property taxes. That is not a problem. We did get delayed because we were working on some other properties, and because of all this situation with the COVID and all that, it's very hard to get the workers to come and work, and I mean there are a whole lot of other issues. But we are in the process of, we finished one in Groves, we are working on the one in Port Arthur, and then we are ready to do this one as well, as soon as if we can get the permits, you know. We did approach the city the first part of January because we are fixing to get the work started, but we are just waiting for this meeting so that we can proceed with it.
Okay, so it's extensive damage, and you feel you can get it done in 150 days, and we've said it over and over and over. If you don't get it done in 150 days, regardless of whatever work you've put into it.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. Once we get started, we should not have any problem in getting it done. It's just that sometimes, you know, there are a lot of issues these days. I mean, it's beyond our control many times. And you all are probably pretty aware of all this situation with the supply and all that. But yeah, I think we should be able to finish it. There's no problem with that.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
DeMarcus Barkers, I think, 3306 Norma Lane, Pearland, Texas. Item number 471550 Threadneedle.
Okay, thank you.
How you guys doing?
Hello.
I just purchased the property 2 weeks ago.
Can you raise the mic up and speak in the mic? Thank you.
I just purchased the property 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And this is my first time here. I was under the assumption that we had to show proof that we can do this type of work. So just like the young lady back there, I've done this several times in Port Arthur for Section 8 properties. So I showed my financials, my pictures of my before and afters, everything in the portfolio there. We passed around.
Okay, so your request is for 150-day extension?
I've never even been here, so to work on it. I guess the extension, yes.
I guess. That's what you have the opportunity
Yes.
to do
Okay,
today,
yes,
is
yes.
to make a request for an extension.
Yes.
Okay. If you're the property owner.
I am the owner.
Because if not, it will go into the demolition.
And you'll be done with the property in 150 days?
I will. I'm just trying to show you guys the proof that my financials are there, what it costs to do the property, my before and after my previous work, and I've done it all over Port Arthur.
Mayor.
You want me to look at it?
Councilmember Getz?
You bought this from Deborah Thomas?
Yes.
Okay.
Why you look like that?
I mean, if you work,
No,
if your contracting work as good as the presentation, that's
no,
enough
I
for
do
me.
everything myself. I'm a licensed electrician as well.
Well, so you know you have to go get with,
Yes.
okay.
Okay,
All right.
we're gonna pass this back around to you.
You can keep it.
And what's your name again?
DeMarcus, my card is in there as well.
DeMarcus
Barkers.
Barkers?
Yes. Do I have to stay? I live in-
Yeah, you stay, we're gonna vote on all of these that we've heard today.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
Hmm? I just missed the first one, I think. What's the first one?
Mayor, I'm sorry, Brian Nepo does not have a house on the list, but he was wondering if he could make some comments that may help some of the citizens that are wanting to get into the work program,
Doing
that may be
citizen-
able to help them financially. I don't know if we want to do that now or have him wait until after and he can do it during
Doing
the public
citizen-
comment. It's your
public
choice.
comment.
Public comments?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Thank
Just wanted to
you.
make sure. Thank you.
Okay, so we have requests for,
Can we close the public hearing, Mayor, please?
yes, we're gonna close the public hearing. And Mr. City Manager, you've already read the caption for number 8. So is there a motion with the exception?
Yes, Mayor. I so move that we move forward with the demolition of the structures with the exceptions of item number 2 on page 2, number 5, number 7, number 9, number 13, number 15, number 23, 24, 29, 34, 35, 45, 43, and 47. And did I miss anyone that did?
Yeah.
Yes,
Did you say number 4?
Number 4.
yes, number 4.
And I would second your request if you would entertain removing number 13.
Well, here's my,
Number 13. Go ahead.
my motion was for all of those that I read. And so if you, I'm moving for all, even number 13. And the reason is it okay for me to
Go ahead.
discuss the motion that's on?
Well, you need a second, I guess, first.
Well, I need a second. If there's someone that,
Second.
okay. There's a motion. and
There's a
second.
motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion?
Yes.
Councilmember Samuel.
And the reason I wanted to include 13 is, again, this is probably one of the hardest decisions we have to make as council members in dealing with property owned by some of the citizens. And when they come forward, I think we have to be as objective as possible and not use our subjective thoughts as to whether a person can do that or not, because we never know. And so, because 13 was a part, they did come forward and ask for an extension. We normally give those extensions to those individuals that ask. And if they fail to do it this time, without coming back to council, we will move forward with the demolition, if I'm correct.
Correct.
And that's why I said I want to be as fair and objective as possible. That's why I didn't want that second.
Mayor.
One moment. So you're gonna withdraw?
No,
Yeah.
the second was,
Yeah, right.
Okay, turn. Councilmember Getz.
Okay, so the problem, Councilmember Samuel, is the owner for 13 did not come forward. That was the attorney
Right.
that came forward
Yeah,
The lien
number
holder.
13.
With that, I'm sorry, sir, but I will withdraw number 13 from my motion. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I can
recall.
support it without 13
I'll
being.
second the request.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion.
Well, we had a motion. We have to remove that
So-
motion.
So we need to withdraw the original motion.
Or move for, no, it's on the floor.
Okay, so,
So-
so Robert's Rules of Order mandates that once a motion's on the floor and it's been properly seconded, the motion either has to fail
Yes.
or pass.
But
Or can we amend
our
it?
rules for our meeting is somebody can put a new motion.
So you can also, he can amend his motion. That's why I said
I
Robert's
amend
Rules
my
of Order.
motion to remove item number 13.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion?
Just to clarify, and I think I understand the intent. You read off a list of all of those that you originally were going to grant the work program to, and we have now amended the motion to take the house on Fraser out of that so that it will be demolished.
Yes, because there was no representative to speak, legally speak on their behalf.
And that is number 13.
Number
Yes,
13.
yes.
Okay, all in favor for,
One question.
Councilmember Durgan?
Everyone, Mr. Boone, everyone up here that came and asked for an extension, they do not do the required work. Are they able to come up here and ask for another extension?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
So if they don't get the work done, the house will be demolished without having to come back to council?
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All,
Just one last time. Look,
Councilmember Turner.
Councilmember Samuel, you explained it several times. I just want you to say that one more time about the money that you put in, just for clarification. Like, cause everybody said okay, but I want to make sure
Okay.
it's crystal clear.
Okay. What we've done today, we've given them an opportunity to enter a work program to complete this within 150 days. Whatever they put in, it didn't say substantially completed. It says the job has to be complete in 150 days. If staff reviews it, and it has not been done, they can move forward with the demolition of that property, regardless of what they put into the property already.
Gotcha.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
all in favor of approving item number 8, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carry. At the end and the close of the city council meeting, the council will hold an executive session to consider matters related to deliberation of the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of the real property in accordance with section 551.072 of the government code, to wit, specifically land owned by Jefferson County and leased by the city of Beaumont between Sarah Street and Warren Street, being a portion of the south half of block 19 in the MC Cartwright subdivision in the J.W. Burlock League of the city of Beaumont, Jefferson County. 555 Main Street was mentioned, but it will not be part of the executive session. Thank you. Now is the time for any citizen who wishes to make public comment. If you haven't already done so, please fill out the green slip to the back of the room. Please hand it to the clerk. You will have 3 minutes to speak. The green light will come on at the beginning of your 3 minutes, and the red light will come on when your 3 minutes are up. And the clerk will call your name to approach the podium. Thank you.
Brian Neatfo, 3415 Laurel, Beaumont, Texas.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm appointed to the Community Development Advisory Committee, and I had a few comments that may help some of the citizens in the future. I reached out to Ms. Patillo, and she's the director of this committee, and I got funds that have not been allocated, not been used in the grants for the CDBG. In the prior 2 years, there's $200,000 sitting there in 2020, and 2021, $140,406. This money can be used for other things that would have to be voted on by council, obviously. I'll let Mr. Boone maybe make a comment at the end in relation to this. My thoughts would be there's $300,000 that's allotted every single year out of the 1.4 million that typically goes to this, through what we vote on for the CDAC. So that money, goes to tearing the structures down. I guess what I'm looking at is, could this $340,000 that's sitting unused be used to help folks that do want to fix their house and may not have the funds to do so? And so that's the question I'll leave with you guys for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Tom, and I think it's Nayoa, 971 Sun Meadow, Beaumont, Texas.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Let me reassure you guys, you're not the bad guys. I want to thank each and every one of you for your service. I'm here today as a senior citizen of Beaumont, as well as a board member of the Regional Planning Commission Senior Volunteer Program, and a volunteer as a senior citizen with the Regional Planning Commission. We had a meeting today, and this is where I need your help, and I'll be real short and simple. I need your help today. We're about 100 volunteers short, senior citizens. And I know you guys are probably nowhere near the age of 55, but I would ask that you reach out and talk to someone that might be 55, that could be of good value, that could apply their skills, talents, and to let us recruit them and bring them into our family. I'm going to leave some brochures with the clerk, and they'll be at your disposal. Again, once again, thank you for your service, and appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Louis Vaughn, 9615 Mapes, Beaumont, Texas. Go ahead, hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up.
Hello, Mr. Vaughn. Thank you. I think I have to.
Boss man.
Now go hurry up. Go hurry up.
Oh, Mayor and Council, Ms. Reed, man, what a beautiful sight. Anyway, I've come today, and what you have, you can certainly look at later, but it's about the landfill. That's what I came to talk about again, but now I got an additional one. Recently, I had the opportunity to go before the appraisal board twice. Yeah, twice. And in doing so, I did some more study. So now, not only I'm talking about the landfill, but now I'm talking about what the mayor wanted me to talk about a long time ago, and that's a milder. Because a milder was done intentionally. Mr. Gett, I'd had the surveyors out in our ward, and when I talked with them, they said he was out there surveying the land or the property out there because of flooding. See, because what happened with a milder, it was an intentional mistake. The intentional part was that that water was migrated to the Pale. How do I know? I live on the corner of Mapes and Calhoun. I watched that water. That water was coming 90 to nothing in that drain. And I said, wow, that's good, but where in the world is water going? So then what I did, I got in my truck with my 13-year-old granddaughter. I said, let's go to the shop, which is across from BU. I get up to Interstate 10, and a lot of water in that area. I go down further. I said, well, I'm not going down 11th. I'm gonna go down 4th Street. Before I got to 4th Street, I called my son who lives on Rainier. And I said, I'm going to the shop. He said, Daddy, don't come this way. He said, this water is rising. I said, the water has subsided in my area. At 9, 10 o'clock, there was no water in the West End. You know why? Water migration. All the water went to the Pear Orchard area. Now, that's doggone wrong. See, because when I tell you I know about water, we had all kind of discussions before they dug that ditch on the corner of 11th and Pennette Road. And I begged them not to put that ditch there. Why? Because the Corps of Engineers, Army Corps of Engineers, had already discussed how it should be done. When I talked to Doug Knipp about it, he said, well, Lewis, that costs too much money to run pipe down 11th Street and go down to Terrell Park to Taylor Bayou and run it west, straight on up to the Gulf of Mexico. Hey, could have ran that water right over here to the Natures. But here was the idea. You know what it was? They wanted that land. Doug Knipp told me he wanted that land. I told him, I said, well, I can get the people to sell that land. He said, you can? I said, yeah. Give each property owner out there $1 million, and we can sell the land. Oh, that's too much. That's just like with you, Mayor. You got one more time to get flooded. And guess what they're going to do? 3 strikes and you're out. That's what they did in that area. Many of the houses gone. Why? Because they flooded 3 times. They tried to do that with my daughter. Harvey didn't flood us because we raised that house. See? But they wanted to do away with it. It's a lot that's happening here that's not right. Can I prove that? Yes, I can. I told you I've been working on this water thing over 50, well, let's see, since 11 when Mr. Gett came on.
Mr. Vaughn.
Okay, I'm through. I'm gonna stop, but I'm coming back to still talk about these landfills, and now that a milder has gotten to the fight, okay. But I do have to say one more thing. Just one more thing. As I said at the appraisal district, I used to say, and I used to say that to Ms. Broussard, this is my fight. But you know what happened? God stopped me in my tracks. And he told me, he said, listen, Lewis, that's not your fight. It's my fight. You just going down as a spokesperson. But that's my fight. So, guess I'm going to be obedient and just come and do what I got to do and let him take care of what he got to take care of. Thank you so much, as always.
Thank you.
Sheridan Keys, 103 Easy Street, Kuntz, Texas.
Hi, my name is Sheridan Keys. I'm a student at Lamar, and I'm representing the Green Squad, which is the organization for sustainability on campus. And today we're here to present a way for Beaumont to bring back recycling at no cost to the city. So just a little background on why this is so important. Every day, Texans generate about 5 pounds of waste per person, so that adds up to over 400,000 tons per year just in Texas. So it creates a huge problem like landfills, and we're right in the big thicket. So that's harming our wildlife, that's polluting our water, so you can see why it's a big issue. So last fall semester, Lamar partnered with a company called Replenish to implement a recycling program on campus, and it's been pretty successful. We've recycled almost 1,300 pounds of waste so far, just starting last fall. So the way the system works, there are drop-off locations set up on campus. People can bring their recyclables, then Replenish, the company, collects these and sells them back to other companies. So these companies are paying to reuse these materials. That's how that's how it's free. That's why there's been no cost to Lamar. That's why it would be no cost to the city. You just have to coordinate where to have these drop-off locations. And the people at Replenish have been really good about helping coordinate that. They've already offered to help the city figure out where to put locations, how to get volunteers. I know they've even had unmanned drop-off locations, so that's something that you could look into as well. but there's not really any reason to say no. It's free for the city, and I think the people of Beaumont would really appreciate the opportunity to be able to recycle again. I think Dr. Flossie has a few words as well.
So I signed a sheet too.
Yes,
So
yes, ma'am.
start my
She already
clock.
has
Yeah.
a sheet filled out, Mayor, as well.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm the Director of Sustainability for Lamar, and would you hand that to her? So we just want to tell you a little bit more. We don't work for the company. We're not trying to sell you on them, but they were going to try to be here, but they changed their travel arrangements because of the increased number of cases. So they wrote you a letter, and I was supposed to read you the letter, but it takes 4 minutes to read it. So I figured I'd give you some homework. You can read it on your own. We just think it's a good way to, there are a lot of people in the community who want to recycle. They don't all want to drive to Lamar when we are doing it, or they can't. But if we're hoping that you would have time to check into the company, you can do a Zoom call with them, find out how it works. The way it works for us, as she mentioned, we have a set day once per month. Maybe some of you have been there. And we have some supporters in the audience also. And we have volunteers, besides me, I'm paid, but that come out and help people. But you could do it by just setting up locations. If the city wanted to host some locations, they'll help you find a good spot so it's not where people are going to put trash in and contaminate it. And the reason it works is they send you these huge white bags and people have to sort it. So it's not as, mixed with things that are not recyclable, like styrofoam or plastic bags or things like that. So they find the market for all of these products. Is that mine? Okay, thank you. And that's way, they're not charging you to collect them or everything. There's going to be a little bit of employee time, of course, to do it because someone has to monitor the locations, tell them when the bags are full, and then they haul them to Houston. So we hope that you will look into it, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm at Lamar. You guys have my number, but also I put the contact information for that guy on the letter so you could talk to him.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Nicholas Hunter, 9155 Mapes, Beaumont, Texas.
Stuck in my hair. Give me a second. All right. Good afternoon, council, mayor, staff. First of all, congratulations, Sheree. It's amazing to see you take that step and be the first black woman mayor, attorney for the city of Beaumont. Following you, being the first black female mayor of the city of Beaumont. And it's a pretty historic time that we're living in right now. I mean, we'd all agree to that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. But one of the things that makes me super excited about Beaumont is that hope is always on the horizon, and we always see it, whether it's a storm that comes and blows the hope away or whether it's more crime or whatever it is. There's always hope on the horizon. And I've recently taken a position as a board member of Crime Stoppers of Southeast Texas. We're going to be putting on our state conference the first week of February. So we're looking out for sponsors, for door prizes, and all of the other things that you can sponsor for these conferences. So one of the things that Crime Stoppers does that's really been helpful in this community is their campus program. They get a lot of tips through the campus program, and it helps get more convictions and get the criminals off the street. Even had a conversation with the upcoming district attorney who's going to be taking office in the fall about the diversion programs that they have in plans to get people the mental health that they need for crimes such as drug abuse and petty crimes that we don't need to be locking them up for, that we need to get people the help for. So I'm excited about the way things are going in Beaumont, and we are going to continue to change the narrative. When you see that 50 houses are going to be burned down or torn down and demolished because they're eyesores and they're all these other things, well, we need more of those inspections in the Amelia neighborhood, because I've pointed out 5 or 6 of them just to the departments here of houses that are completely run down and just been completely ignored for a while. But that makes you think, why are these houses being run down? And that's because of the reasons that we all know people don't want to be here. So we got to change those reasons. We have to get back into doing things for the future generations, for the kids in our community, for Beaumont ISD, because they're clearly lost and need a way out. So I want to, again, thank you guys for all the work that you do. Congratulations, and I look forward to being here for the next however long.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Now's the time for council comment, and I will start with you today, Councilmember Duria.
Thank you, Mayor. First, thank all the citizens that came and participated in this process. We're all a team. We all have our part to do, and I'm glad you guys are here. Second, Sarah Street Wellness Group, which is the old Melton YMCA, 3455 Sarah Street. They have a Wellness Wednesday. It's like moderate exercise, and it's from 8 to noon. It's free breakfast and free lunch. And the mayor gave this to me, so I don't know if she was trying to give me a message about I need to work out or whatever, but thank you, Mayor.
No, it was in your ward, so.
But you have to RSVP, and the phone number is 409-730-7040. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Duria. Councilmember Getz.
Thank you, Mayor. If you go outside and you can look in the hallway, we do have a defibrillator now at City Hall. I guess we've probably installed defibrillators in some of our other public buildings. Can we, as council, be given a list of where we've had defibrillators installed, Mr. Manager? Thank you. I appreciate that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Turner.
I just want to shout out staff. It was it sounded real good to hear some of the grants that you guys applied for and successfully got. So I just want to say thank you to staff for, getting creative and getting outside of the box, going after some of that grant money. The city appreciated it, and we're getting things done with it. So thanks. And the second thing is, I've got a few calls on Pine Street. I park over there at Pine Street Park. We have some lights out over there, and the citizens been pretty consistent about it. So if we can get somebody from Energy to go out there and see if we can get those lights back lit up in that park. He's still calling, and it's still like that. And it's a few wires hanging from that telephone pole that could kind of be a nuisance to those children. We don't want no child or anybody to get injured with those wires hanging from the telephone pole. So if we can get that kind of looked into at Pine Street Park, they've been pretty consistent in the area contacting me. So if we can get that checked out and those lights, relit, I appreciate it.
Councilmember Felshaw.
Thank you, Mayor. Last Wednesday at the annual Beaumont Police Department Appreciation Ceremony, they sworn in 14 new officers. Congratulations to them, and we appreciate their willingness to serve in our community, and we do support our local law enforcement, and we're excited about these 14 new young men and women that are on the force. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Samuel.
Nothing, Mayor.
Councilmember Neal.
Nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Well, I would like to say congratulations to the new 14 officers that were sworn in. Also to our staff, thank you for executing and going after those grants. That's money to our city that will be well used in the city. Also to everyone that was able to sit here patiently through the process of this stack of structures. As you see, it's not an easy process for us. And as Councilmember Samuel continued to say, it's not easy when someone has worked so hard and worked to acquire a piece of property and for whatever reason has not been able to comply or complete. And at all costs, we want to make sure that we're here to help them and not hinder them to complete the process. But on the other hand, once you're given the help and then you don't complete the process, then you end up before the council threatening to have your structure demolished. And that is at the last result, as Councilmember Neal said, but to have to live next door to a structure, and maybe we need to put some of them up on the screen so that you can really see, because what we see on paper, I applaud some of them for taking the risk for even going out and doing it. So we just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing by the citizens on both sides. So with that said, I'm going to see if our city manager has anything to say, and our city attorney. Okay, so we want to thank everyone for attending, And we will adjourn and recess into executive session. Thank you.